These days, cryptocurrency is going mainstream.
Fortune favors the brave.
Stars like Matt Damon, Paris Hilton, Megan Thee Stallion, all pushing crypto in sponsorships.
Hey, hotties, let's talk about Bitcoin.
So what is it? Think about crypto like it's part money, part investment vehicle, and all virtual. Kind of like when you buy things using a credit card. You don't ever see your cash. It's all just digital entries. But crypto cuts out the middlemen, like governments and banks, and replaces them with a decentralized digital ledger, basically a piece of technology that issues the crypto and logs its transactions. And it's global. No need to figure out an exchange rate between, say, American money to euros. Supporters say it can be safer because it uses tech to hide their identities and their balances. And they point out there's no single point of failure in its system, unlike with banks or credit card companies that are centralized by governments. But without a government or bank in control, if you lose your password or get hacked, you're probably not getting your money back. Most people buy crypto hoping it becomes the next big thing, shoots up in value, then suddenly their crypto would be worth a lot more money, at which point they could spend it or trade it for more dollars than they bought it for. Right now, companies from PayPal to Overstock.com, even Home Depot, accept certain forms of cryptocurrency. But because its price is so volatile, the whole thing can be tricky, since people may be less likely to use crypto like cash if they're not sure whether its value will surge or crash. And that's what we've been seeing here, right? People see both sides of the crypto coin. You've got one notable economist, Paul Krugman, writing in the New York Times recently that this reminds him of the subprime mortgage crisis in the late 2000s. Remember that? That's when banks gave loans to high-risk buyers during a really hot housing market. But then the market turned, the bills came due, homeowners couldn't pay up. That's what was behind the housing market crash. I want to bring in NBC's Jake Ward, who's with us here. Let me start there, Jake, because Krugman's been getting a lot of attention for this comparison here. And there are people who have some quibbles with the way that he is making this metaphor, if you will. Walk us through, how you see it, because I think the point that it seems like he's trying to make, that some critics of crypto will say, is like there are certain people who are seeing these ads, seeing these sponsorships and going, hey, sure, it's like going to the casino, I'll throw in some money and make a ton. But they could get really hurt here.
That's absolutely right, Hallie. The thing about Paul Krugman, right, a Nobel Prize-winning economist, it turns out it takes somebody like that to make a comparison that we can really understand. And in this case, it's comparing it to the subprime mortgage market, in which basically banks sort of packaged up some very risky bets in the real estate business and sold them to the larger market. And that incentivized people to try to sign people up for mortgages that they could not afford. Now, one really interesting point that Krugman makes that I think is really important to make here is that at the time, the subprime mortgage market was basically sold in part as a way to empower people who can't typically buy a home. Unfortunately, when the bottom fell out of that market, it fell hardest on those people. And here he says the same kind of thing is happening, because typically when you look, Hallie, at people who buy stocks, it is, educated white men for the most part. In this case, it's really interesting to look at the statistics around who is trading in cryptocurrencies. Those statistics suggest that the average age is under 40. More than half of those people do not have a college degree. A lot of them have a household income under $60,000. And this is the really interesting one, 44% of them are not white. So there has been a huge amount of talk, and I hear it from very smart people close to me who say there's a way of empowering people who have missed out on these opportunities in the past. But what Krugman is saying here is that when these numbers fall out, they're falling out on people who may in fact not have been empowered by this, but may have in fact been preyed on by it. And I think that's a very smart comparison he's making.
I wonder how much this recent crypto crash, right, is going to play into this, Jake, because I think about how easy it is to go on like Reddit, right? And you're looking at these unbelievable stories of people who have made a ton of money in crypto, and it seems very appealing, right? It seems incredibly attractive to get involved with. You've got sports stars, Odell Beckham Jr., others like Aaron Rodgers, right, who promote crypto, promote Bitcoin by getting their salaries in crypto. Then you see this crash, right? The value has sunk from a high of something like $69,000 to $38,000 today. That ain't great, right? Look at that, those two camel humps there. You don't want to see the lines going down. You want to see them going up if you have crypto. Do you think this is going to be kind of a reality check for folks on that front?
Well, I think what's really interesting here, right, is that we are falling prey to a classic thing that psychologists would point out, which is called survivorship bias. You only hear the stories of people who've made money. You almost never hear stories about people who, lost everything to something like this. And so that's a really big one. So when somebody like Odell Beckham or Aaron Rodgers, takes a portion of their salary in crypto, we all think, well, that person is a superhuman millionaire. I'm absolutely going to follow what they do. But I think this is the thing is, it doesn't matter if you're a Nobel Prize winning economist or a superhuman millionaire, you are not qualified to really figure out what this stuff is worth. As all economists agree, it is impossible to understand where this is going because it is totally fictional. Crypto is not based on anything. There are no actual materials that go into it. At least with the housing market, we know how many people build houses, right? We can track the price of lumber. With crypto, we are literally making it up as we go along. And so it is an economist, a football player, or a television journalist, it's our best guess as to where this thing is going. And right now, it is certainly going in the wrong direction, Hallie.
Chick Ward, it is great to have you on to break that down. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being with us.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.